This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back. Lots to talk about today with this gentleman. This podcast will be amazing. And I can say that with certainty because he is a professional magician, entertainer, performer for all ages, specifically children. He works with a lot of them as well. Going to dig in deep here with the amazing Kevin joining us on the program today. How's everything going with you?
Oh, it's going great, Steve. Thank you. I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Likewise. Likewise. I don't think I've ever had anybody on who does what you do. And there's so many different, it's the aspects of this go all over the place from what you do, how you do it, who you do it for, what it's like on the other side to be an entertainer, a performer, and a magician. Do you primarily work with children?
I would say 80 to 90% comes from kid shows. The other 10% or so comes from public events, schools, after schools shows. Um, I'm so hard.
Charitable events, I'm sure you do as well,
Yeah,
right?
charitable events. So for like the after school programs, we were talking about spectrum therapy shows. I was in the first time I did a show for them. Uh, I was in Dale City in Virginia, and I come out. I didn't really know what I was stepping into, but it was like any other show. And they said, "Okay, come on into the gym." And I'm like, "Okay, where do you want me to set up?" Typically, I'm at a stage side, and all the kids are seated and they're facing me. And the teacher goes, "Oh no, you're going to be in the center, and all the kids are going to be all the way around you." And I'm like, "Okay, not ready for that one." And I said, "Why are you having me in the center?" She goes, "Well, just in case one of the students decides to chase you and come at you, one of our instructors will be able to get to the child before the child gets to you." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I'm doing this magic trick, and I produced some color from a coloring book, and I put it into a pan, and I put the lid on it, and I pulled the lid off, and this big giant bouquet of flowers came flying out. This kid from the other end gets up and is running full speed at me. And I'm like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what do I do?" My head is just like, I'm just standing there holding the tray out there. And the kid comes running up and he grabs a hold of the pedal and he pulls it off the tray, and then he looks at it and he looks at me, and then he turns around and he walks halfway point from where I was at to where he was at, looks at it, looks left, looks right, and goes, "He's real." The
Mm.
hairs on the back of my neck stand up on end. I have forever created a magical moment for this child that he will remember for the rest of his life. And I'm like, yeah, this is the stuff that I want to do.
Mission accomplished, right?
Yeah. And when you get that kind of energy vibes that are coming out from the kids, and whether it's special needs or whatever, they just absolutely love it. Um, a lot of psychology in it. A 45-minute show for kids to sit still while you're doing it is a trick in itself.
Mm.
The fact that because in the day and age of everybody's on their phones and gizmos and gadgets and playing video, uh, for them to sit to see the show is priceless. Um, yeah, it's I so many unique groups of people that I've done shows that some groups that I've done shows for their first birthday. It's their 1-year-old birthday party. And you're like, "How do you do a 1-year-old show?" Well, it's not for the 1-year-old. It is for the 1-year-old, but no, it's not for the 1-year-old. It is for everybody else and around that is coming to celebrate the 1-year-old birthday. And And
I
that's
I give you a lot of credit with all of this, but especially I'm still stuck on you're in the middle of a circle of kids. And I got to believe if, Kevin, you're doing magic, sometimes there's some things that you don't want them to see in terms of what you do, I would imagine. And
oh yeah.
now there's full transparency around. So you got to work around that. And then, of course, these children have some special challenges. So you got to work around that. Wow. I can't even imagine.
So instead of just playing to one direction, you just rotate all the way around and just make
Mm.
sure everybody can see everything that's going on, interact in all different directions, and bring it all in. There was another event that I did. Now you got to be very patient with children that are like this. I'm doing a show and I have one child that is running left and right through the show. Now there's a teacher with them, okay, making sure that they don't do any harm or damage or run behind the backdrop or do anything like that. But as I would put a prop on the table, this child, and I got two kids up there already that I'm performing for, okay? And this kid is coming running through the show, grabs a prop, and runs to the other side. And he's like, "Meow," and then he sets it down and then he runs off the other trick. And this is going back and forth while I'm trying to do a magic trick with these other two kids. And this is like, at one point, you're just like, okay, keep going because the distraction, it's not everybody else is engaged and locked in. And the one in the back that's causing the distraction isn't the distraction. Stay focused and do the magic. And I finished up doing the tricks. And as the kid was running back by for the final pass, I looked at him and said, "Whoa, are you ready now?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay." And then I just threw him into the show and spun it back around and off he went. So, you have to be patient. You have to be loving, caring, understanding that Murphy's law is full in effect. All right. And even the shows that I've done, I did a show where I was producing a it's the end. It was like a Halloween, it was like a Halloween show. And I was performing at a house for some kids, and I finished the show and I produced a big giant silk banner saying thank you. This kid had a magic wand in her hand, and she went up to hit the silk, but she didn't hit the silk. She hit me and dropped me to my knees.
Wow.
I had tears in my eyes. I'm looking to the kid. I'm looking to the guy on the couch, the adult, and he is just laughing. I'm just like, oh, oh. So you don't know these things when you're starting to do magic and perform. You're not. There are times in the trench that you're going to learn lessons that are not there in textbook. So yeah, you
Wow.
learn quickly. You learn certain things. The
I'm learning here today that doing this type of performing, anything can happen. If it's adults, it's basically controlled. If you bring somebody up or kind of the zone. Here, you never know what's going to happen when it comes to kids. They
oh
could say something, see something, whack you.
oh, and they call you out.
Yeah.
Children are the best and the worst. They call out everything. And
Yeah.
it's like, I know how you did that. I know how you did that. So in the beginning, I was like, okay, I'm not going to challenge you on this one, but what I'm going to do is if you know how it's done, fantastic. But I'm not going to tell you how it's done. You can say how it's done, you can guess how it's done, but you will not know how it's done until I show you how it's done. So therefore, you don't really know until you know. So we'll just go with that one, you
Mm.
know. But kids, hey, I seen that on YouTube. I know how that's done. I'm like, okay, you're missing the whole aspect of the magic. You're not there. I had Simon Lovell stay at my home. He's a magician up in New York. Um, and he did a lecture for us for Ring 50, Washington, D.C. And he stayed at my house. And in the morning, we were sitting at my kitchen counter and he was showing me all different kinds of card tricks and he was showing me how to do it. I was showing him shuffles. I was showing him the things I know. He goes, well, you could do this with this and tie it in with that. And I'm like, whoa, that's very cool. Thank you. And then he went to proceed to show me another trick. And I knew the trick. It was twisting the aces. And he wanted to show me how he did it. And I said, no, please don't. And he's like, why? I said, because you're performing it for me, and I want to keep the nostalgic feeling. I want to keep this endorphin side for me and live here for this because this is a magical moment for me. You teaching me it, I can go learn it. And why wouldn't you want to learn from the masters that knew it? Well, in this case, I wanted to enjoy it.
You want to be a spectator. You want
I
to be the
wanted to be
audience.
the spectator. He showed me other things, but I was just like,
Mm.
thank you for sharing this. And he shared stories when we were going back and I was taking him to DC to head on back to New York for him. But yeah, I mean, it's great. Juliana Chen, she's a Gold Cup ring Gold Cup champion. And she was lecturing for us at Ring 50 again, doing a gala show. And I was her chauffeur. I was her assistant while she was down here. So I had a little bit of opportunity to spend some time with her. And she was showing me how to do some card manipulations. And I'm like, okay. And I'm doing them, and we're sitting at a table, and I'm doing, and I don't even think she's paying attention to what I'm doing. But all of a sudden, I see the spoon come out, and she whacks the back of my hand. Not like whap super hard, but just whap, so that you're like, yeah. She's like, no, that's not the way you do it. Do it like this. And she was showing me the discipline that she learned under a harder punishment of doing things. And I'm like, oh, that was so cool. I mean, yeah, she whacked me with the spoon and like, hey, no, 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 no. You really need to focus and be disciplined in what you're doing if you want to achieve your goals. And I'm
Which
like,
which is pretty much the rule for everything, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So many people have ideas and they go, I want to go do this and I want to go do that. And they never shoot. They just keep moving along the horizon line and they don't even know what they're doing. Until you actually get a point where you know where you're at and you can measure that from this point to the next point, then you can actually start having attainable goals. It's not hard. It's do it. When I started doing magic and getting involved, I failed. I failed so bad. I lost over $20,000 in my own investment. But again, I'm investing into myself. And I didn't give up. I didn't allow that investment to stop me. I didn't I reached back out to my mentors and the ones that were doing the shows, and I'm like, hey, can you help me? And they're like, well, do this and do that, and those things weren't working. And then finally, I caught a break. I caught a break from from my mentor. He's still my mentor to today. Great guy, Lewis Meyer. With Child Time Magic. Great guy, and he uh, he gave me a whole bunch of shows, and you get really good really fast while you're out there doing it. And there's the failure rates happen. I was doing a show that was smaller than a shoebox, and smaller than a shoebox, and as I'm performing this routine of peanut butter and jelly from one end to the other, back and forth, a toddler is walking through the room. A phone is being rang. There was so many interruptions in that show that I felt like I failed so bad. I was like, I finished up the show and I was supposed to get paid. You know, I was supposed to pick up the remaining balance. And I turned to her and I said, I can't take it. I can't take your money. And she's like, why? I said, because I didn't give you a quality show. In my heart, I didn't feel as though that you got the value for what you're paying for. And I can't take your money, honestly. Uh, Stay with the retainer, whatever you paid with on the retainer, but take this as what it is. I'm sorry, you know. And I went back to the person that got me the gig and I told him about it. And he goes, it's okay, because some days are going to be like that. And you did a good job. Even don't be so hard on yourself. The client was happy. I said, okay, well, I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel like it was right. I didn't believe in that. So, but then going forward from the lessons learned, yeah, I still hold those values, you know. If a client books a show with me and I say I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. The only thing that's going to stop me from not showing up is an act of God. Okay. But if you cancel, that's a whole nother story, you know, and that's okay. You know, I'd rather have it be on their end than on my end.
Well, you know, it's a level of professionalism where you hold yourself to a certain level. Where did this begin for you, Kevin? Did you always love magic?
Well, you know, when I was a kid, you know, 7 years old, my mom took me to my first magic shop and I got a deck of cards and the magician's book, you know, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome, cool. But I didn't have any mentors. I didn't go to any of those meetings and I stayed with it for a while. And then high school came and girls came and magic went out the window and girls came in the window. Oh, well, no, no.
But the magic could have been the hook for the girls too.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, you know, I mean, magic creates a lot of important things. You know, it creates respect, it creates preparedness, it creates confidence. You have to be
Mm.
confident to come up to somebody and say, "Hi, my name is Kevin. Would you like to see a magic trick?" And some people are going to go, "No, go away." Others will say, "Yeah, that sounds great." Okay, now you're on. You do your thing and they enjoy the magic, and you're like, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And then you move on. Or you end up engaging into a conversation. I was in Annapolis, Maryland, doing doing an event up there, and I had some downtime. So I was at the harbor. I was walking along, you know, and I'm like, oh man, I got like 2 hours left. And I seen some people on a yacht. I said, hi, hey, how you doing? My name's Kevin. Would you like to see some magic? And they're like, sure, come on on. And I got on the yacht and did some magic for the people that were there. And they had a blast. And I'm like, thank you so much. You know, off I went and on to the show that I went to go to.
How do you build
Bring
that
it with
confidence, man? Like, if something goes wrong in the early part of your career, then something else, you got to get up and dust yourself off and keep going. But where do you find the strength and the confidence to keep going?
I think that's all about how you see the world. It's your perspective view. It's your confidence. Some people are natural with it. Some people have to work at it. For me, I've always been uh, I had really good parents. I had a
Mm.
good mom. I had a good dad. Uh, and the environment that I was in, I'm a Gen X. I'm a Gen X. You know, come home when the street lights come on, you know, drink out of the garden hose. You're not gonna, you know, stuff like that. Um, you know, I was a latchkey kid at times. You know, I would walk to school uphill both ways. No, really, it was uphill both ways. Um, and that was okay. You know, it helped. I came from dirt poor, food stamps. It was horrible, but that didn't put me in the position that I wanted. I was going to live there. I had greater dreams. I want to be successful. I want to achieve more. I want to be healthy. I want to give. I want to inspire. I want to take people, and when I talk to them, I want them to feel like, whoa, why didn't I do that? I can apply that. I can go do that. Yeah, that's right. You can. Why aren't you doing it? You're wasting your time doing nothing. If I did nothing 5 years from now, I'd still have nothing. If I start now, I'm going to have something. I'm going to create, you're going to create what you want. I wanted to do magic. I wanted to do shows all over the place. I wanted to be inspiring to children and adults. I wanted to create a better world around me. So those are the things that I was doing. I mean, that was failure is failure. Rock and roll. Getty Lee. He was with Ozzy. You're playing, right? And you make a mistake in the song. You don't stop. You keep going.
Yep.
You keep going. Nobody knows your mistakes unless you stop and point out the mistake. If I did a trick and like, okay, so I was doing this, it was called the trick of the month, the vanishing bandana. In the box was supposed to be a bandana, but it wasn't. It was a banana. So they say, take the bandana out of the box and wave it over the top of the kids. Well, I'm waving a banana over the top of the kids. Now take the bandana and fold it up in your hand and put it beside your side. I'm like, okay, this is a banana, not a bandana. So I fold the banana in half and I put it in my hand. And they call this the secret move. Now there's an audio that's following along in the story script of this. You bring out a bandana, a handkerchief, and you put the banana inside the handkerchief. When you make a magical gesture and you open up the handkerchief, the banana is gone. No. My son goes, hey, Dad, has this trick ever failed? I was like, no, son, it hasn't. It works perfectly. I haven't had any problems performing it beforehand until he said something. And I don't know what happened, but when I went to go vanish the banana went flying out into the audience and landing in the lap of a child. Now, did they know that that was supposed to happen? Or did they think that the banana was supposed to disappear? They don't know. So, hence, pick up the banana, smile, and move on to the next trick and play it off on however you want to, you know? But again, it's funny because it was a flying banana. That was actually, it actually worked in that aspect. So,
it goes back to that phrase, the show must go on. Just keep going.
yeah.
Nobody knows. Nobody, I think that was probably the best visual of the banana flying. They probably thought that was part of the trick. Now you move on to something else and it's all forgotten.
There was another, I love these stories because these stories actually are fuel. A 45-minute show for a children's entertainer is like an hour of an aerobics. You're sweating because you're putting energy out.
Yep.
To get energy back in. And the more energy you put out and the more energy they throw back at you creates the inertia of more energy. So you're not as tired. You're just charged. So I was doing a show and I took the child was into bionicles. So I took a bag and I took these bionicle pieces and I poured them into the bag all loosely and then did a magical gesture, ripped the bag open, and the action figure flew out of the bag and across the room and landed at the child, the birthday child, and he caught it in action pose. This is something, this is like a 1 in a million shot. This is not something that would happen every single time. But when it does hit, oh my God, it's like, yeah. And this kid was just like glowing and you couldn't ask for a better magical moment than that one for that child at that time. It was
Wow.
great.
It's like, and it wasn't planned that way.
No, it was not planned at all. I was speculating. When I ripped the bag open to send it flying, I thought it was going to go up, catch. No, apparently the trajectory went up and out and went to the child,
Of all
which
kids to
was
go
like,
to.
and,
It's like,
and I was like, how is that? How was that even possible? I was like, yeah. And then the mom was like, man, that was really cool. I said, yeah, I know. That was awesome. Completely,
if
I
you
mean,
only knew.
if you only knew.
We're just about out of time. I can keep going. Love your stories. Love what you do. I know that you're centered around an area of Virginia. Tell us the geo.
All right. So I'm based out of Northern Virginia. Uh, from all the way, I do the tri-state areas, Washington, D.C., Maryland, Northern Virginia, and Richmond area. Radius, I try to stay in with, a decent mile radius of 65 miles of the Quantico area, to say. Um, but I'll travel. I'll go anywhere you want me to go. If you want to pay for me to be there, I'll come to you. It's that simple.
You've got so much on your website, not just videos and examples of what you do, but the philosophy behind it, tips for parents, a book, which we'll get to next time we get together.
Oh yeah.
What your website pretty simple. Is it theamazingkevin.com?
Yes, it is. Yes, theamazingkevin.com. Mom, just saying,
Awesome.
moms, because you're the
Awesome.
ones that are up at 1 a.m. planning these parties.
Amazing talking with you, seriously. And seeing this on a whole different level. It's almost as if we peel back the curtains on a performer, but even a children's performer where, yeah, I know it's probably not easy. Now I see it. I can't imagine 45 minutes of it's almost like you're on guard because you never know what's going to happen. And you have a job to do. You got to
Yeah.
entertain.
Well, I mean, even, for my events, I will arrive 30 minutes prior
Sure.
just so that I can see where you're having me set up and whatever adjustments we need to do before the showtime.
Yep.
And then once I'm in there, I mean, the ideal setup is like, say, if you had a party at 2, the guests are coming at 2, you would want the show at 2:30. If you're going to do pizza and stuff like that, you would plan it, where the pizza arrives, 30 minutes prior or before. You can have the pizza arrive at, 1:45. They come in, you can feed them the pizza. They come, they sit down, they get the magic show afterwards. You do the cake and the ice cream, you load them up on sugar, and then you send them home.
You're amazing. And I really, truly mean that.
Well, thank you. Thank
Thanks
you.
for being here today. We got so much to talk about in the future. And even, I would love to see some magic if we could do that on camera next time we
Oh,
get together.
absolutely. I'll bring some magic into focus.
Bring the banana, bring the bandana, and whatever else you got.
All right. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it.
Thanks for being here. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.